Welcome to the fifth session with reference to the Living World Part 3 under first PUC syllabus. Today I am going to tell you about the taxonomic aids. In previous classes you have been studied what is taxonomy, how it is done, what is taxonomic the hierarchy, and what may be the species, genus, kingdom, phylum, etc. Today, let us concentrate ourselves on taxonomic aids. Taxonomic aids. What is the use of studying the taxonomy? We can list like this. It is helpful in knowing what? The bioresources available in the nature and even their diversity, that is biodiversity. The total form of life on earth is supposed to be the biodiversity. And even it is helpful in training any biological student. So, with reference to the systematics, how it is to be done and what may be the significance of it and what is the advantage of studying that taxonomic the biology like that. And the another one is said to be the whatever the specimens that are to be identified. So after identification it should not be thrown out. It is to be stored as specimens after doing its taxonomic classification so that it is helpful for future studies. The next is, in order to know it well, the biologists established some procedures and techniques to store and preserve the information which is available for the future studies. And they also suggested how to preserve the specimens what available in the nature. So if at all it is studied and then discarded, it is of no use. The forthcoming generation will not know about it. Hence, whatever the specimen that is available in the nature, it is to be identified, classified, and then it should be stored in the form of specimens with taxonomic details. Thereby, the students in future can study with the help of such stored information and specimens. These are all said to be the taxonomic aids. So that is helpful in knowing the bioresources and their diversity. Second, that is helpful in training the biological students regarding the taxonomic studies or systematic biology. The next is, whatever the specimen that is available, it is to be identified, nomenclature, and then classified. After that, the information should be stored. That stored information is available for future use. In order to preserve either the specimens or the information, the biologist advised or established certain procedures and even the techniques how to store and preserve the information along with specimens. Now, let us know about some of the taxonomic aids. That means how the information or the specimens can be stored for future use. The first one is the herbarium. Remember, herbarium is nothing but the library of dried plant specimens. How it is done? It is done in a manner like the plant that is available in the nature is to be first dried and then pressed and then mounted on a drawing sheet. First of all, the plant is collected from the nature. Then it is to be dried and then it is to be pressed and then preserved on a drawing sheet with information, taxonomic information like the name of the plant. The name should contain the scientific name, local name, so that is even written in English or the regional language, in the English and the scientific name. Then to what family it belongs. The family should be mentioned. Name of the collector and date of collection. Like that. All these to be recorded on the sheet. So that means the plant scientific name, local name, to which family it belongs, who collected it, on what date it is collected, and where it is collected. All these information should be on the herbarium sheet. Thereby, if at all any other person go through that herbarium sheet, you will get the information. The largest herbarium museum is found in Paris. So here nearly 8.9 million specimens, that is dried specimens of plants, are preserved. That is the herbarium. Then botanical garden, second one. In the botanical garden, what is done? Here, all the plants which are available in the nature is not said to be grown in the botanical garden. The wild varieties which are on the verge of extinction or which are very rare in nature or which are on the line of extinction is collected and grown in the known area which is called botanical garden. The aim of the botanical garden is mainly the conservation of that rare species. Then it is to be studied on each and every plant in the botanical garden is labeled with scientific name and the family to which it belongs. Then it also provides us what? Recreation along with study. And then aesthetics. That means it gives beauty to the nature. So that is aesthetic value. The largest botanical garden is found in England by name British Royal Botanical Garden, found at Kew, which is the part of England. In India, National Botanical Research Institute is found in Lucknow, that is UP, Uttar Pradesh. And another one is the Calcutta Botanical Garden, found at Sherpur. These are the famous botanical gardens. So overall we can say that The aim of the botanical garden is to preserve what? The very rare wild variety of the plant. What are the significance of the botanical garden? First of all, it provides the protection to that rare wild plant species. Second, it helps in study. In addition to that, it provides recreation and even the aesthetic value. So these are some of the botanical gardens, famous botanical gardens, and of course in South India, even in Ooty there is a botanical garden wherein many of the rare wild plant species are preserved or conserved with security. The next is museum. If you go to any colleges, so either the PU colleges or the degree colleges or the PG centers, so there you come across particularly museum with reference to the biological sciences. Without museum, there will be no biological studies. So museum is the center where the specimens are collected and preserved in the bottles in a preservatives like that of the formalin. Here, the specimens are collected from their natural habitat. Later on, they are anesthetized and they preserved in a bottle or the jars with preservative, particularly like that of formalin. Formalin prevents what? Decomposition. It prevents the attack of bacteria and fungi. Thereby the specimens can be preserved for a quite length of time. And then how the insects are preserved? The insects of course can be preserved even in the bottles with the preservative. But for the study purpose and for the detailed study of the insects, so there is another method of preservation. First of all, insects are collected by using the insect nets. And then insects are killed. Later on, they are pinning in a box. And that box can be referred as what? Insect box. So insect box is said to be first prepared. And later on the insects are collected from the nature. Later on they are being killed and then pinned. And that is the another way, best way for insect collection for better study. The another one is even the skeletons of many animals, particularly that of the vertebrates. We can preserve even the human skeleton or the skeleton of the snakes or skeleton of birds like that. And then stuffed specimens. For example, the mammals and even reptiles. Here the animal skin is removed and later on the material is said to be packed up within that skin and then it is preserved. If we observe them, then it appears almost like that of a living one. That is stuffed preparations. Stuffed preparations can be applied only to the larger animals like that of the world, particularly vertebrates like mammals and even reptiles or the birds, etc. That is the museum. Overall, we can say museum is the center where specimens are collected preserved in the bottles or the jars with preservatives like formalin. So the largest or biggest museum is the British Museum found in London, and even the largest museum is the Louvre Museum found in Paris. These are the world famous museums. The two particularly in the London Museum, the specimens of the dinosaurs, the skeleton of the dinosaurs or the remnants of the dinosaurs are preserved. In India, there is National Museum, which is the largest, found in New Delhi. In South India, there is Salar Jung Museum in Hyderabad. So there is also a museum, the famous museum in South India. That is about museum. Then zoological parks or zoological gardens, or simply we can say zoo. What is zoological park? It is an area, it is a controlled area wherein the animal species are conserved or preserved under controlled conditions. Or in other words, we can say it is a place wherein very rare the wild animals are conserved under controlled conditions. That is the zoo garden or zoological parks. What may be the aims of that zoological gardens? The aim is, it is helpful in studying the lifestyle of the animals, like that of the lion or tiger. If you watch right from morning till evening, then we can easily understand their behavioral aspects. That is nothing but their lifestyle. It also provides us what? Recreation. Of course, the main aim is what? Preservation. And that is also helpful in study, research, and even animal breeding. Suppose these rare wild animals are kept as such in the forest areas or in their natural habitat, the poachers on one or the other day make them to become extinct. So if at all they are preserved or conserved in the zoological gardens, it is helpful in breeding also. Thereby their number may be increased. The famous zoological gardens in India are Alipore Zoological Garden found in Kolkata, which is of course a largest one. And then Anna Zoological Garden found in Tamil Nadu. So Indira Gandhi Zoological Garden found in Andhra Pradesh. And then the another South Indian world famous, the zoological garden is found in Mysore. These are all said to be the zoological gardens, which is one of the taxonomical aids, as like that of the museum, botanical garden, and then herbarium like that. Now lastly, let us take up the key. What is said to be the key here? Key provides us an information about the plants and animals based on their similarities and dissimilarities. So, by key features, it is possible for us to list out what? Similarities and dissimilarities of any given plant or animal. And that is helpful in what? Grouping of that plant or animal under its specified the category. That is the key. And then the key contains couplet and then lead. Couplet in the sense it is based upon a pair of contrasting features. Contrasting features in the sense the features which run in opposite directions. Whenever we study any individual, either may be a plant or animal. For example, if you obtain the crocodile and that of a bird, then you have to first of all list the similarities. Of course, both are the vertebrates and there are more similarities. But both of them are belonging to two different classes. Hence, there are dissimilarities. So, like that, we have to list both similarities and the dissimilarities. The one which is not acceptable should be rejected, and the one which is the acceptable is to be accepted and then grouped. Each step in a key is called a lead. Each step in a key is called lead. Now, the examples of key are, now key, as I said earlier, what is key? Key provides us the information regarding the plant or animal after studying their similarities and dissimilarities, which help us to group them in a specified category. Then, what is the couplet? Couplet is based upon a pair of contrasting characters. Whenever we list the contrasting characters, out of these contrasting characters, one is the rejectable and another is acceptable. Each step in a key is lead. Examples of key is flora. Flora means nothing but plants. Fauna means animals. Flora and fauna means plants and animals. Now let us constrict ourselves to the word flora. Flora means plants found in a given geographical area. For example, this is one geographical area. Whatever the plants you find here in this area is totally called as the flora. If at all it refers to the animals, then you have to use the word fauna. So flora means the plants found in a given or in a defined geographical area. Then monograph. Say for example here there are said to be A to Z plants. If you study the only one particular plant species of that area, then it is called monograph. So monograph refers to the study of an individual plant species found in a given area. Say for example, if you study only A or only B species in that area, then it is called monographs. Then manual. After studying all the plant species found in that given area, then whatever the information you got or you obtained from that is to be recorded. That recorded information of the plant species found in a given area can be referred as manuals. I hope you have heard practical manuals. That gives you what? That gives the information how to conduct the experiments in the lab like that. Not only one experiment, it contains the details of all the experiments what prescribed for that year. That is called as a manual. Remember, manual contains the information of all plant species found in that given area. Then catalog. Remember, if at all it is the information of only a given geographical area, then it is called as a manual. Whereas catalog contains several manuals. That means it contains the information of various geographical areas found on the globe or found in that region, and all are said to be listed. And then if you go through the catalog, then you will get the information where it is and then what you have to get. And if you require the information for the species A or B or C like that, then you have to go through the catalogs, because catalog contains several manuals. So, but all are said to be indicated by some code. Based upon that, you can get the information whatever you want by going through this catalog. These are all said to be the examples of key. With this, the living world is completed. So, living world, I hope I completed it in the 3 parts. In the next class, I will take biological classification. Thank you, one another.